Your Honor, you know Mr. Blandino, he is receiving messages and information and from God that, and this is basically just a document identifying him as an Israelite, not a member, not an Israeli, an Israelite, and he's an ambassador or agent of Jesus. That's what this document shows, nothing more.
Are you all ready? Is Mr.
He's out there.
Yeah, I can get him.
State versus Blandino, C341767, present in custody. This is on for a revocation hearing. Is there a probation officer on blue jeans?
That's the case, yeah, she's on this.
I got it.
Oh, you weren't asking me.
No, I wasn't asking you. Okay, officer, will you state your name?
Specialist Duque.
Okay. Okay, you'll make your appearances.
Mike Dickerson on behalf of the state, Your Honor, bar number 13476.
Your Honor, Joseph Gersten, 13876 for Mr. Blandino, who is in custody to my right. Your Honor, might we approach very quickly?
Okay, Mr. Blandino, it's my understanding you want to represent yourself, but you obviously understand that I have revoked your pro per status in this case, correct?
Well, the pro se status, I object.
So you are
Okay.
not going to represent
Well,
yourself.
I want it to be reinstated. You did it on the basis of
I
I being
am not going
disruptive.
to reinstate your
Well, I
ability to
object
represent
on
yourself.
record. I object.
So Mr. Gersten's going to represent you on the revocation
He can't
hearing.
be as effective as I am, Your Honor, with all due respect.
I'm sorry, what?
He can't be as effective as I can, with
Okay,
all
all
due respect, Judge.
right, you've made
He
your
doesn't know a lot of
record.
these facts.
Okay.
They're critical.
Oh, that's why you have to talk to your lawyer.
I have
So
talked
how
to
is
him.
the state going to proceed?
So, Your Honor, today in front of you have the state's motion to impose a prison sentence, which is based upon Mr. Blandino's failure and refusal to sign the probation agreement that goes along with him accepting probation. And then, in addition to that, after that was filed, Mr. Blandino picked up a probation violation, which he's in custody for. So I think that first, we should probably get started with the state's motion, as it has issues that are material as to Mr. Blandino's probation to begin with, and then we can move on to the probation revocation hearing.
And if I could, Your Honor, again, the motion that we're here for today is the motion to impose a prison sentence. It was filed on September 12th, Your Honor. I believe the original hearing was for sometime next week. It ended up as one of the Jewish holidays. Somehow it got actually moved forward to today. The problem with that is it has not even been 10 days since that motion was filed. I believe under the criminal rules of practice, and I think it's Rule 8, we're entitled to file a written opposition
Sure.
in the 10 days.
If you want an opportunity to file a written opposition, obviously I'm gonna.
Oh, and that's just it, Your Honor. I mean, I don't think we can go forward without his opportunity to at least file a written opposition to this. So that's what I would ask for. I believe under the rules that we're entitled to it, so.
Okay, because they kind of seem like they're gonna kind of go together now.
And I
Because the
do,
refusal to sign the probation agreement, and then apparently he was arrested during a traffic
that's right,
stop.
right. Yeah, he was arrested during a traffic stop. It had no driver's license, indicated that he had an international driver's license, reached for a document to grab it. That document turns out to be a false Israeli diplomatic passport.
Well, again, Your Honor,
I
until,
understand.
I don't want to get into too much of the facts because these will be hotly contested.
Right,
but-
there are allegations.
The one thing is, I do believe that under the rules, there's 7 days to file an opposition to this. This isn't a writ petition, which would be 10 judicial days. We have 7 judicial days, which I believe, counting from the date after the filing of the state's motion, would have been yesterday.
Okay, well, I'm gonna give him an
Yeah,
opportunity
no
to
opposition to that.
file
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you.
written response. And so, how much time do you think you're gonna need?
Your Honor, to be really honest with you, next week is Rosh Hashanah, the week after that is Yom Kippur. He's incarcerated, so I'm gonna have to get down there to speak with him. So really, as much time as you can reasonably give us, we would take.
A week? 2 weeks?
Yeah, we've got 2 weeks of Jewish holidays.
But isn't it Tuesday and then,
It's Monday and Tuesday, and then
Okay.
it'll be the Tuesday night, Wednesday of the next week. So I don't know what your schedule is. You know, obviously, I guess I would say, we are on for a hearing on October 6th. And I'm not sure what that is for.
maybe that's when the motion got calendared, but I'll have to clerk check.
If I might, I can
But
tell.
I mean, you understand your client's gonna remain in custody.
Your Honor, I mean, we understand, I think he understands that, you know.
So I believe October 6th was when the motion was scheduled, but Mr. Gerstein's office had reached out to the court to get the hearing moved based
Was that
on
what
his
it was?
scheduling, and that's why it was moved to this date.
That's correct. Okay,
Yeah, it was like, then I guess it was like October 6th, then it was moved to Rosh Hashanah, and then it was moved to today. So there was that
okay.
error. So as I said, Your Honor, whatever time you'll give me, we would appreciate. I just don't know what your,
Well, if October 6th is amenable,
that would be fine.
That's fine.
Continued
Your
revocation.
Your Honor, court's indulgence, my client is signaling me. I just wanna,
I would just note that I have 3 witnesses under subpoena in the courtroom today, so they are present.
who is subpoena, the traffic officers?
Yeah, so these are 2 patrol officers, Officer Neeson and Officer Martinez are here, as well as Detective Meade.
Okay. So it's October 6th?
I apologize, Your Honor. I'm now looking at the schedule. That was the original date, and we asked to move that because it was, you know, if we could get maybe the next Tuesday, that would be.
Your Honor, I think that October 6th is going to pose some problems for the.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what we're finding, yeah.
Looking at the next week,
We're gonna do October 13th at 8:30 for
Okay.
the state's motion and revocation hearing.
is October 13th?
So I think it's good for 2 of our witnesses. One is going to be unavailable. I'd be open to taking the testimony today or however you're on.
And can that person appear via Blue Jeans?
No,
This is a special student.
going to be totally unavailable, Your Honor.
Okay, when is your witness available?
I'm available the 13th.
It's an officer, but we're.
Okay.
We're talking.
Can we approach Your Honor?
Yeah, of course.
Thank you.
We're not there yet. You've got to listen to me. We're just figuring out the date for the argument that can go forward. We're figuring out the date to come back.
25th should be fine. We'll be down 1 witness, but I think that we can
Okay.
make it work.
All right, so we'll set it for hearings.
Okay, October 25th at 8:30 for state's motion as well as revocation hearing.
Martinez, the female.
Okay, and then counsel, you just make sure you file your response before that hearing date.
And I apologize, Your Honor. Was it 10:25 we
Yes.
decided?
Uh-huh,
Okay, thank you. Your Honor, if I may,
sure.
my client, he wants me to argue vociferously that he should be released. This is a simple traffic matter, you know, he should be OR'd on this, he does not have failures to appear or anything of that nature. He obviously enjoys coming to be in front of you, so,
We oppose.
sorry?
State opposes.
Of course, but, you know, if you, as you may recall, Your Honor, he is a caretaker for a woman, she's a World War II vet, and she has no care right now, and he believes, I know Mr. Dickerson's gonna argue against this, but we have information otherwise that she is not doing well, and she needs him to He's the 24/7 caregiver for her, so his time is really not helping her out. And again, as you may recall, this is a failure to possibly sign a revocation, the conditions and standards, and no license and no insurance.
Well, I'm the most concerned about the impersonation allegation.
There was no, and I will say this, Your Honor, I don't believe there was any allegation of an impersonation.
Well, if you have paperwork that is for the purpose of identifying you as somebody that you're not.
And that's not the case, Your Honor. Mr. Dickerson will correct me, but the paperwork identifies him as him. It's not saying he's something different than what he is.
So,
I just read the police report, so I can only go by what the allegations are.
Of course, Your Honor, and what I'm trying to explain is, I mean, I can show you the photographs of these particular documents. They're, Your Honor, you know Mr. Blandino, he is receiving messages and information and from God that, and this is basically just a document identifying him as an Israelite, not a member, not an Israeli, an Israelite, and he's an ambassador or agent of Jesus. That's what this document shows, nothing more. So I would hate to have him stuck in jail for what is essentially a novelty document. He didn't present it to the, and Mr. Dickerson will correct me, my understanding is he did not present it to the officer saying, this is my actual identification. It was in his vehicle. And again, I'll be corrected if I'm wrong.
I mean, we're ready to have the hearing on this today, if you want to hear all the facts, Your Honor. So the point of it is yeah, he had these two documents entitled diplomatic passports and indicating driver's license, and that he did try to attempt to pass off as his driver's license, his international driver's license. He doesn't have a driver's license. And so it is creating a false status for himself. It's a false document doing so.
Well, Your Honor, I can come back and say, if you look at the section that talks about a driver's license, he quotes the Bible. He believes there are biblical verses that allow him to drive. But at no time am I aware.
That's fine, we don't know, the rest of us don't subscribe to that. If you wanna live in the community with us, then you have to obey the laws as identified by Clark County and the
And
state
again,
of
Your Honor,
Nevada.
100%, and we'll have to deal with the fact that he didn't have a driver's license or insurance, understood. My question really is, does he really need to sit in jail for the next 3 weeks because of that? That's all I'm asking, and that's what he's asking for, is to be released or come back, we'll deal with it all at that time. He'll be able to take care of the woman he's taking care of, and again, there's no allegations that he's a danger to the community, there's no allegations that he's gonna run, there's none of that. So I'm just asking if he could be released until the hearing, and we'll come in and deal with the hearing, and if something comes from that, we'll move on.
Okay.
So as to, number one is to Ms. Pendergraft, we've initiated a welfare check on her. Everything was fine. It's also based upon the information that we've received, apparent that Zach Blandino, Mr. Blandino's son, has been checking in on her, as well as the neighbors. So at this point in time, you know, we'll take any efforts that we need to ensure that she is safe and conduct welfare checks on her and send any resources for medical her way if that's necessary. At this point in time, it has not become necessary at all. It appears that she is being looked after by her neighbors as well as Zach Blandino. In addition to that, I think that Mr. Blandino is a danger to the community, and he has shown that he has outright refused to follow this court's orders throughout the history of this case, and including his own probation. He wouldn't even sign the probation agreement. He should not even be allowed to be on the streets right now on probation because he has not accepted this court's grant of probation. So with that, I think that the only place for him to be is currently in custody.
Anything else?
Your Honor, may I, Your Honor?
Sure.
Thank you for your indulgence.
He says she's funny, he's hardcore, cut that, you have a murder deal with this thing. And it's exact, but we're not getting into the testing. Yes, based on my objections. Yes, I got that, yeah.
Anything else, Mr. Gersten?
Just 2 points, Your Honor. Mr. Zachary Chandler, sorry. Forget your last name? Lindler, Mr. Zachary Lindler, the son, is here. He has told me that this EV person is actually not doing well. I don't want to get into I don't want to litigate that, and Mr. Blandino, he just wants the court to understand, when he didn't sign the probation documents, when he didn't sign the probation documents, it's only because he didn't understand. Your Honor wrote at one point, no courts. And he didn't know if that meant this court, the Supreme Court, because the standard was, the condition was no courts. So that's just an example. He didn't sign, Eric Chandler, his probation officer, signed below accepting and approving it. So he didn't think that was an issue. Now, again, I don't want to get into this back and forth with Mr. Dickerson because that will come out at a later time, but Mr. Blandino wants me to make this aware to you that this was not a thumbing his nose to the court. He didn't understand some of the conditions. We were getting ready to file a motion for an amended judgment of conviction just to explain things because there were certain things he didn't understand. That's why he didn't sign. So it's not, again, he's not thumbing his nose. That's all we have here. Again, Your Honor, we would just ask that he be released to come back and fight this. He has the opportunity to be out on the outside. We can put together whatever his defense is, and we can go from there. And with that, I will submit.
And based upon Mr. Gersten's representations right now, after court today, we will be contacting Adult Social Services to go and check on this vendor.
All right, thank you very much for being here today and your arguments. And at this time, the court's going to deny the request for an OR. And we'll see you back in the 25th. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Court is adjourned.